It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts, Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Welcome into another episode of Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That is Alan Saunders. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that we have a very special guest with us on the pod today. Alan, why don't you do the introduction?
Yeah, welcome for the first time of the 2025 season. We've got a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers on the pod. Welcome. The latest member of the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe, offensive lineman Gareth Warren, signed to the team after a tryout at rookie camp. Gareth, welcome to Pittsburgh and welcome to Steelers Afternoon Drive.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Gareth, we always ask the guests that are on here, regardless of if you are a media member, someone like yourself that's an athlete, whatever space they're coming from, how they feel about the intro of the podcast, that music, the introduction that we come in with. What was your thought on the music?
I thought it was amazing. I thought it was awesome.
There we go.
Definitely
Thumbs
different.
up.
You know what I mean?
Thumbs up from Gareth. There we go. Good stuff. We appreciate it. Alan makes a good point. You are the first member of the team this year to join the podcast. So, you got a little bit of bragging rights within the locker room that you can throw around there. Tell everybody that you were the first member. Also, I want to just throw this out to you. This was not on my my card to bring up here, but Lindenwood University, don't know like how much. Obviously, this is a different space. This is the baseball world, but I'm actually friends with current Yankees pitcher Jeff Hartlieb, who was the Lindenwood University grad, which is like I had never even heard of Lindenwood University until him, and then to hear that's where you came from too. I just thought that was super cool.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's crazy.
We can dive into that a little bit. Yeah,
small world. You know what I mean?
Right.
How did you get to Lindenwood? What was that process like? I mean, coming all the way from Hawaii to St. Louis, St. Charles, Missouri area. Walk me through how you end up there.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was just. I mean, coming from Big Island. I was playing center at that time in high school, and I just got recruited off my senior year of film. I mean, my junior year of film because senior year was COVID. So it was just seeing what opportunities I can get from that, and Lindenwood gave me a full ride. So, I mean, I took it and made the most of my opportunities there.
Did you know when you went there that they were making the transition up to the Division I level? That was
So when I
already
when I got there, I mean, we were D2 at that time, and I was like, okay. And then the next year, they just popped up like, hey, we're gonna go to D1. I was like, oh, like that's always been the dream, to go play D1. And so being able to stay and then transition and help that team transition to D1 is just another great opportunity, and I took it. So
What did you learn about moving up a level, and is any of that applicable to the process you're going through right now, moving up another big jump to the NFL?
yeah, I mean, obviously the speed of the game is a lot faster, and then this jump as well is another notch as well. So just continue to adapt to your environment and your playing grounds. But I just think like at the end of the day, like football is football, and you just play your game and just get faster, quicker, and adapt to your environment.
What was the process like for you coming in for rookie camp? Like, does the team themselves call you? Is it your representation, like an agent that lets you know, hey, the Steelers want to bring you in for this, or how did that process work?
Yeah, so my agent called me up and after the draft, and like usually, you get signings during that time. But he was like, we had some teams interested in you, and I don't know what happened, but we're gonna look for opportunities for you. And so I got I got an invite from the Steelers, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go there and take it and do my best. And then going into the weekend, I was just like, just play my game, learn as quickly as possible. It's like mentally and physically, gonna exhaust you, but this is what you worked out for. This is what you dreamed for. So just go out there and play your game. So
did they give you any like feedback, if you will, like, hey, Gareth, this is why we signed you? Like, what do you think it was that, made them give you that contract?
yeah, I mean, they pretty much just said they have a lot of like potential in me, and just
Mm.
like continue to develop and do my game and like pick off of the the veterans, and I think it will be a very great player in this organization. So I was just very blessed to hear that and very thankful. So I just took it.
It's
Would
hard to. I mean, I try
okay.
to watch, what the guys are doing, but you're not wearing pads. It's not like you're really blocking anyone. It's kind of
Yeah.
hard to see, like what were you focused on trying to show them about you? Like, what's going through your head as you're getting ready for that weekend about like what you really want them to learn about you?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's gonna be hustling, so you gotta be, you gotta stick out, you gotta hustle even more. And just doing extra, like not like extra in a dirty way, but extra in like you're doing your technique right, you're learning faster, you're learning, the plays that they give you, and you just do it to your full, but like your full 100%. And I think that's what they saw in me, and just like that they can help develop me to be a good player. So
I'll tell you what stood out to me and listed by the Steelers 6'6", 333. There's an awful lot of you. And that certainly helps on the offensive line. Were
yes,
you
sir.
always the big kid growing up? Did you have a later growth spurt? And when did offensive line be the thing that you decided you wanted to do?
Yeah, so I mean, growing up, I played since I was like 7 or 8 years old and started on the line, offense and defense. And then obviously once you start like developing and going into high school, like you kind of have to pick a side. And I still wanted to go both ways, and I still did a little bit, but offensive line was pretty much like the positions for me. So I took that and developed as much as possible. And yeah, I was just taking that and running with it, and now I'm here. So
Going back to kind of like the feedback thing, this ties in with that. You've talked about your versatility right there. Was just wondering if they like laid out like a roadmap for you in terms of where they see you fitting in at. Is it at tackle? Is it at guard? Are they going to move you around a little bit? I feel like for guys that are kind of like, more so fighting for a spot, you kind of got to be more versatile. So like, has that been
yeah,
laid in front of you yet? What the plan is?
yeah, they just said that just be prepared like to play both sides. That's how you stay in this league, is just being versatile and just being able to play any position they have for you. So, just learning the play not just in one position, but all the positions and what they're
Mhm.
doing. And they said if you're versatile like that and you can play, like they'll keep you. So
Yeah. Is there or who was or who are some offensive linemen, whether it's current or guys of the past that you've kind of watched to, work on your craft or technique that you try to like emulate?
yeah, so I mean I played guard and tackle in college. And so like I mean, just like seeing how like because I was playing guard, I started off at left guard. So
Mhm.
just seeing how, Quentin Nelson plays with that drive and grit and like footwork technique, like all of the things that you can do to improve yourself. And then going out to tackle, like just seeing like Jordan Malata, like he's
Mm,
come from a rugby background just like me, and just
yeah.
developing and being one of the best tackles now, and just like seeing that just gave me like inspiration, like if you can play you'll be good. Like
You kind of
You
just
said
brought
you
up
have
to
a
me a good question right there. Yeah, I was just say the rugby background. I don't know if it was going to be
yeah.
obviously maybe two different questions from Alan and I coming from
Mhm.
that, but I was just curious, like what you think translates from rugby to the NFL. Why you feel like there's been more of a pathway as of late for that?
Yeah, I would say just like, I mean, obviously the conditioning aspect, like you got to be able to
Hmm.
run in rugby, and so and like be mobile. And I think that like transitions into football as well. Like you know, there's football conditioning, so it's a little. I'd say like rugby is a lot harder as far as conditioning. So like transitioning may not be like that hard for conditioning wise, but just
Hmm.
being quicker, faster, and just like different techniques is just that's all you gotta do.
I think people think Hawaii in their head, and they have an image of a resort somewhere. What is where you're from? You're Kona on the Big Island, is that right? And what's that
Yes, sir.
like? What was your life like growing up in a place that a lot of people just sort of think of as this place that's just a paradise, but of course it's home to a lot of people as well.
Yeah, so it's just like, I mean, coming from the island, like it's a family aspect. Like everyone like knows you, everyone knows everybody, and it's like everyone just like grows together. And like I couldn't be here without people over there, supporting me and just loving on me. And so like growing up in the island, like I mean, if you want like a laid back like island vibe, you go to my island, Big Island. But if you want like a city slash paradise, you go to Oahu.
Mm,
Like every island has its own unique thing, but I feel like it's all similar in the aspect of like there's a village behind you, like wanting to support you and just like it's not just me playing out there, it's like I have the whole island on my back, you know what I mean? So it's
mhm.
just remembering that in the back of my head and just going not just for me, but for them and the people around me. So yeah.
The Steelers have four Hawaiian players, or players from Hawaii, I should say, and all four from different islands. I think
Yeah.
Nick Herbig, the Roman Wilson, and Isaac Seumalo. What do you know about those guys? Do you have relationships with any of them? As you said, it's kind of a small place.
Yeah. So like I said, like when I got in, you know, I already like clicked with them automatically. It was just they brought you in and like I said, like we everybody knows each other and we know like how we operate in a way. So it's just cool to, build that relationship with them, even though they're from different islands. But like I said, it's pretty much like the same upbringing and like we're trying to carry like the people on our backs. So yeah.
Steelers obviously have quite a history with Polynesian players. Troy Polamalu, several others that are in the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame. What did you know growing up about the Steelers? Was there something that you can remember from watching them on TV that stood out from an early age about what the team is all about?
Yeah, what's crazy is like growing up, I was a Steelers fan, and like that's what like even my
I
like
was gonna
my
ask that, and I was worried what
yeah.
the answer might be. So
I was a
nice job.
Steelers fan, my dad, my mom, me, and like a good bunch of my other family, like they're Steelers fan, and that's because of Troy Polamalu pretty much brought like Polynesian on the map, and like we're just inspired by him and just how he played the game, and so we just want to bring our aspect to the table as well.
Troy around a little bit more than he was just a few years ago. Maybe you'll get the opportunity to connect with him and see him around at some point. That would obviously be awesome. But
Yeah,
kind of goes in with my other. You brought up having at least some type of relationship and getting to meet some of the vets on the team. I was going to ask about that because I was going to ask like who were the guys that maybe you've tried to like absorb something from or learn something from early on here. Is there like a veteran offensive lineman you've been
yeah,
able to connect with and are trying to like just take information in from?
yeah. I mean, Isaac, obviously,
Okay.
like he's been in the league for 10 now his 10th year, and like
Mhm.
just piggybacking off of him and just like seeing what techniques like he's doing and just like trying to replicate it, but also like bring your own sauce to the plate. And like also like Troy has been here for a year now, but still like he's still he's been here for a year, so just
Mhm.
also piggybacking off of him as well.
Did you say bring your own sauce to the plate? I'm gonna use that. Like I'm taking that and running with. I'm gonna be throwing that in
Yeah,
as much as I can. I honestly have never heard somebody say that. Maybe Alan
yeah.
has, but I'm gonna be using that all the time now.
Yeah, it's a new saying, I guess, huh?
I
What
got
was
hey.
the moment like for you coming out of the weekend when you found out they were going to offer you a contract? How did that all go down?
Man, like I was coming off the field, I'm like, and they're like, so they brought us all together and they're like, thank you guys for coming, like we'll let you know if anything happens, like keep in shape and stuff like that, and like we'll let you know. But then when I got in the locker room, they put me aside and they're like, "We want to give you a spot." And I was just like, I was in shock at first, like couldn't really like speak, but I was just like, "Yes, like of course I want that spot," you know. And it's just like a dream come true. Like really, like it didn't really hit me until I got back the to the hotel room, and I'm like, dang, my dreams just became like a reality. And so I was
Mhm.
just very thankful, and I just give God all the glory for that. So
I feel like just like in general, your culture, like your people are very close knit. Like even people that aren't family are family. I
yeah.
assume that shortly after finding that out, when you came to the realization in your hotel room, there were some phone
Mhm.
calls you had to make. What were those conversations like with your family when you told them?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you call my parents, I called them, my mom. Um, they're just in tears and just talking to me and just telling me like we're so proud of you, and like you worked so hard, and like and that's true. Like I worked so hard for this moment, and just all the training, all the extra work at night when no one, like when people are sleeping, I'm still working. Like it's just all coming to reality. And then, calling my wife, and she's just so excited for me and this opportunity. And I'm just so blessed to have people in my life to support me, and just yeah, I'm just overall just blessed in general.
I assume, I mean, Pittsburgh's not necessarily a destination that a bunch of people are just coming to. So while you knew about the Steelers prior to because you grew up a fan, that was probably your first time in Pittsburgh, I would assume, for rookie camp.
Yeah, it's my
What
first
were
time in
your
Pittsburgh.
what were your first impressions of the city? Did you get to like dive into the food scene at all or no?
Yeah, so actually this past weekend I got to, explore the city a little bit. I went to a strip district and
There
got
we go.
to Pamela's Diner. That was
There.
great breakfast over there. And then
Yeah.
just like there's like a festival, the Pierogi Festival. So I
Hmm.
got to check that out with my wife, and we're just checking out the city, and they're just very welcoming. I would say like your traffic can be a lot sometimes, but like it's
Yeah.
weird because like the drivers, like you kind of have to like force your way in and stuff like that. But when you meet the people, they're very like welcoming and very like cool. So I thought that was pretty interesting and cool to learn.
Love to hear it. Alan, you got anything else? I'm
No, man, I think
good.
that's it. We're excited to follow you through OTAs and minicamp coming up in the next couple weeks. I'm sure we'll get to catch up again. But really, thanks for joining us, and appreciate being able to share your story. I think it's an awesome one. I always think, you know, there's a lot of guys on the roster this time of year that like maybe not all of them are going to make an impact, but I like to try to find a way to tell those stories, and I was really excited to get to tell yours. So this is
Yes,
awesome. Thanks
sir.
for coming
Thank
on.
you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it.
There we go. Gareth Warren of the Pittsburgh Steelers joining the podcast. We appreciate you, Gareth. Take care.
All right.
There we go. On his way out. That's good stuff. I know, Alan not being a fan of the team, he could be a fan of people and stories to tell. I will 100% be a fan. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I always root for the guys that are good people, good stories, and I think it's pretty clear Gareth is one of those. So awesome stuff. That was great. I had no idea that he grew up a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
I just feel like we find out more about people when we get some time to do some more in-depth one-on-one stuff. So that was awesome.
He kept like I had a question like lined up and then he would answer it while he was giving an answer to something else. Like typically happens that way. But Alan, you mentioned as well as having Gareth on here, we have some news to discuss. I assume you didn't say it to me, but I assume you're alluding to the Olympics thing is one of those pieces of news.
Bombshell.
Yeah.
As Braden Fajoka, we didn't mention him, former Steelers nose tackle, said on social media, had everybody buzzing for the NFL owners approved the
Wait, is that what that was about?
Yeah, well, that's what he says it was about. I don't know.
Okay.
The resolution to allow players to participate in the 2028 Olympic Games. I was sure this was going to pass. 32-0, I wasn't quite sure it was going to be that, but one player per team per country to participate. We don't know what the 6 countries will be participating, other than one of them will definitely be the United States because we are the host country. So should be interesting. You know, when they do this, I had a couple questions on Twitter about this. USA Football will determine the roster. It's 5-on-5 flag football. So, I mean, you can cross out your linemen right away. But then USA Football will determine the roster. They may have tryouts. I don't really know that tryouts are necessary. I feel like we have a good idea who these people are. Like, do we really need like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Tyreek Hill to try out? Like, I think we know that they're good. And so, but the player selection process is going to be brutal. You're talking about, I don't know how big the roster is, maybe 25 guys to play 5-on-5 out of 32, one from each team. That's going to be tough to make a selection. I'll be very interested to see what that process is like. And then the other part of this is for guys that aren't going to make the U.S. team, those other teams that are eligible. Like, the way this works is because there's never been any international competition in the Olympics. You're allowed to compete in a country where you have heritage. So, like, could be a lot of guys, showing up to training camp in 2028 wearing, I don't know, different flags on their backpacks. We've seen this like with the World Baseball Classic, where like, guys have played for Italy and Israel and other places where they have, a family tie, but aren't necessarily from. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested. The thing I wanted to ask you about was like, they're allowing players to do this, right? So does this mean it would prohibit, say a team wanted to try to put it into a contract for a player that like they couldn't or something, like, are teams not allowed to do that then because it would go against this? Or
there's also no like the other part is that like who's picking the one from the team? Is it the team or is it USA Football? What I mean? Is this saying USA Football has their pick of the 53 Steelers, or the Steelers can put one player forward for USA Football to select? I don't know. I think there's a lot of details here that have not yet been sorted out. So,
which is kind of why I figured like this was eventually going to be a thing that passed, but I wasn't sure at this point because I thought maybe we would need like another cycle or something to get to for them to have more details in terms of this stuff.
Yeah, I think the USA Football part of it has yet to come. Now that it's been approved, USA Football will run that process, and so they'll have to be the ones that come up with that. The 6 countries that finished in the top 6 in last year's World Championships were the United States, Australia, France, Canada, Denmark, and Mexico. So that gives you a little bit of an idea. The rest of the top 10 was Germany, Italy, Panama, Switzerland, and Thailand tied. So, like, those are the countries that you have to work with. Basically, I know Japan has been pretty well in the past. But like, those are pretty much the options there. It should be interesting. It should definitely be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, did you have a strong take on this one way or another prior to, like, in terms of if you thought this should be a thing or?
I thought this absolutely should be a thing. The NFL wants to be an international game. They got to get the sport in the Olympics somehow. I think flag football is the only way. And while I actually don't think it'll really impact the international audience that much, I think making flag football a bigger deal in the United States will certainly help that process. And I think this is good. Like, rugby is a much more international sport than American football, and like they play sevens at the Olympics, and they don't mostly play sevens in other rugby competitions. It's like the version of rugby they go. Like, I think that's perfectly fine for there to be a version of American football at the Olympics that's a little bit different. Men's soccer is under 23 only at the Olympics, and so like I think it's perfectly okay to have like a slightly different version of the game played internationally, and I think I would rather 7-on-7 than 5-on-5, but I mean, we'll take what we can get. I'm okay with this.
Was there anything else news wise that you wanted to bring up? Or was
Yeah,
that
the
it?
Steelers waived Lasita Smith, who was someone that they had claimed on waivers 2 months ago. Didn't ever get to see him in
That's because we got
uniform.
Gareth Warren now.
Yeah. Yeah, they do have Gareth Warren now. They also signed Aiden Williams from Minnesota Duluth, another Division II guy. I had a really good interview with a rookie camp. We'll try to get him on as well. That'd be fun. And then I think that's pretty much it. So there was a couple interviews today out in the media. Derek Harmon was on, I think it was Cam Hayward's podcast, and Will Howard was on Kay Adams, but I didn't see anything there that was like breaking news to anything.
No.
There.
All right, well, good. So we got at least one question that we want to bring up here that you sent to me. This was from Steeltown Dreams. Justin, we got to have a conversation here. Honestly, just out of curiosity, what like the amount of numbers on the back end of your name here at Justin 323-10309, like, was 323-1030 taken? Like, how do you get to the point where you're adding that, or does it actually like mean something? I legitimately want to know out of curiosity. So we need a response on that. But anyways, just wondering if there has been any turnover when it comes to the strength and conditioning coaches this year, considering all the soft tissue injuries that piled up last year. And this is the kicker here. This is how you get on the show. Love the show, guys.
There you go.
Thank you.
No, not to my knowledge. I think the entire strength and conditioning staff is back. They had just been signed at the beginning of last season, so I wasn't really thinking that the Steelers were going to fire a bunch of guys they just hired. It's not really how they do business. I did talk to Mike Tomlin about this at owners' meetings back in March, and he said they're working on some stuff, doing some things differently. They've not acknowledged that there's a problem there. And are out to fix it, but I don't think that is going to involve different personnel at this point.
I don't want to, necessarily out any, but this is a positive thing that I'm talking about here. Two players on the team have told me, like, fully acknowledging that last year did not go the way that they wanted to for anybody from that standpoint. I've heard from two players that have definitely dealt with their, injury issues for sure as recently as last year, that say they feel like there have definitely been steps taken in a positive direction from this strength and conditioning staff, including them reaching out to like off-season trainers of the players and like putting together game plans with them. Like, so more collaborative efforts, I'll say, to like understand the players and what they want to do in the off season. And I think that the players are taking an appreciation for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, this was the staff's first, like, they hired the entire staff from Boston College, pretty much. Like, there was not a lot of NFL experience. And I think, I think we should question whether that was a good idea, but, like, it's certainly reasonable to expect a learning curve there, right? Like, like, you don't just hire somebody from Boston College and then screw it up and then fire them after 1 year. It'd be like the Steelers like cutting Troy Polamalu right now. First season didn't go that well, but we have higher hopes for this idea. So, this is
I certainly questioned the hire when it was made, at least at the top. I'm not sure about, the way that the entire staff is filled out or anything like that, but the head strength and conditioning coach, and like, I think by everybody's admission, it did not go the way they wanted to out of the gate. And there were some questionable things that not only like you can question it just because of the results of the Russell Wilson, getting hurt, pushing a sled, but even like, why is he even doing that to begin with? Like the process of getting to that point. And then obviously like it just continued to snowball from there with the soft tissue injuries. So there's something obviously last year that you hope, let some lessons were learned top to bottom, and they're not in the same place this year. But again, I'm only speaking on, from talking to two guys, but they seem to feel pretty positively about some changes that have been made, at least in terms of like more collaboration, more willingness to work on things with players as opposed to just telling them what to do.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's what needed to happen. Like, you got to find a way. So, hopefully they're able to, the one thing, you say like, you're not a fan. Nobody wants to see injuries, like doesn't matter, fan or not a fan. Like, nobody wants to see that. So hopefully they're able to find a way to be better in that area this year than they were last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there was a couple questions still that we have in the queue from like YouTube stuff, and there was one from Brooklyn. Devin the House had a good one as well. Promise we'll get through them in the week. We said that we might have a guest coming on here in the near future. That was Gareth we were talking about, and he came on today. So obviously the rest of the week we're going to have more opportunities to answer questions. So keep them coming, but we'll definitely get to those ones as well. Alan, until tomorrow, tell the people they can find you.
Hey, Saunders _ PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky PGH. Steelers Now is the site's account, SteelersNow.com. Go there and read the word so I can get paid. Sign up for SN Plus. You get an ad-free reading experience over there at Steelers Now. You also get our users only, subscribers only live stream once a month with me, Smitty, and DB. We just did it a couple last week. So if you are a subscriber and you missed it, you can still go back on the site and check that out. And then, of course, you can like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel. That is free and definitely helps us grow this channel a ton. And as we always do, like we'll have a little fun with the number of subscribers. And Smitty, I can't see the number. What's going on here?
Oh, yeah. It's not a good one because I feel like we've run the entire. It's 50.
It's 50.
And,
50. I feel like we have done this one a bunch, but I've still got some 50 in my in the holster here. I've got David Little. Have I run him before? I don't think so.
Don't think so.
There you go.
So.
Linebacker of my youth, number 50.
I was just say there's only like 3 that even come to mind for me. Like no one, obviously Shazier, Foot, and E-Rob. Did anybody wear it before? Yeah, wait. Who was the other? Oh, who was the edge rusher they traded for?
Well, that would have been Malik Reed.
Yeah. Yep. He wore 50.
There you
go. That's I didn't come up with that really on my own though, so I feel like I'm cheating there. But is anybody wearing it right now? Is that the number Malik Harrison's wearing now or no?
That is what Malik Harrison is wearing right now. Yes.
Okay. Well. All right. Yeah, that's all I can come up with. So. But anyways, as Alan said, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. The SN Plus thing, yeah, if you haven't watched it, go check it out. I mean, watch the whole thing. But at about like 10 minutes, we finally have like actually DB on.
Yeah.
So
yeah, DB's internet. We gotta get that boy out of Kentucky. That's all.
Saying. That's what it is. That's what it is. If you're listening somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, be sure to leave a 5-star review and subscribe over there. Just search Steelers Afternoon Drive. Do the same thing on TikTok, and then follow me everywhere, Zachary Smith, PGH, Alan Saunders, and myself. Thanks for jumping in. Take another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.